I've been in battles and I haven't lost. I've never lost, you know what I'm saying? So, and that has never gotten so personal that we're shooting at each other or fighting in the club.
Right.
We ain't about to have that shit in KC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but with that street element, you trying to take food and money away from me by turning people away from me, I got something for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't want.
Yeah, and then there's, like you said, you can't control somebody who's young, who's affiliated, who wants to prove himself.
Right.
That you might not even necessarily
We didn't
know.
even send it. We didn't even
know this was going to happen. And then there's also insane fans.
Somebody say Tech N9ne's name, I would never send it.
Right.
They send it to themselves because I have followers.
Yeah, you're inviting certain energy to your...
Yeah.
To your...
So the thing, when it happened with ICP... That's what me and Joe Bruce talked about. I'm like, man.
Yeah, he talked about it a bit on the pod.
We don't want to turn this into something. We just had we had a really good 2-hour talk when the shit was happening. When I was getting death threats from a few juggalos, we had a 2-hour talk, and it was like a history lesson from Tech N9ne from Kansas City. What started the Killer Clown and all this kind of thing, because they was under the impression that I got it from them, and I'm like. I was the clown in '94, you know what I'm saying?
This is not new,
and I had to tell them all that. And but they did show us a lot of shit on that tour in '03 that we had to up our game and merch and everything. And their stage show was. I just saw them performing the other day, and it's still crazy.
For sure.
It's got this energy about them.
I just think about them shooting 2 liters of Faygo into the crowd.
Oh, they still doing that. They still doing that. And it's like me and Joe Bruce talked about that, about the history and what I learned. And, you know, we got it clear about the gang element. I don't want it to bleed into this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because whether they know it or not, you know what I'm saying, the clowns, the juggalos are not a gang, but people look at them as a gang.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's all over the world, too.
For sure.
It's in Australia. It's in fucking the UK.
Right.
Juggalos are everywhere, and they come show love, my nigga, and like they always have.
Yeah, if you go to a tech show, you're gonna see juggalos. This is
of course, and
a lot of people have Strange and Hatchet Man tattoos.
Yes, sir. So we talked about the gang element that I didn't want to bleed over into that, and they came to my show in Detroit and they introduced me and everything, and it was good. You know what I mean? After they did your show. I did a song, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. And I was telling people that I'm not upset at what they were saying on the show. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they didn't say nothing wrong.
Right.
But, you know what I mean? It's like the face paint thing was unclear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't know that when I was on that tour, I only had my guy doing words across my head. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But before that, I had Brian Beazle Dennis in '94 doing my full skull face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing about Dark Lotus or none of that shit. I'm talking about when I did the show in Lawrence, Kansas with the luminous paint on my face and the black cross across my face. You know what I'm saying? Lights cut off, you could see just a cross on my face. I didn't know nothing about Dark Lotus back then. That's what they did. And it's like that was in the early '90s.
Right.
You know what I mean? And shit like that. So we had to talk about all that, you know what I mean? Because we had similarities when it comes to face paint and all that kind of shit. And I was trying to say that I've never been a biter. I've always been an innovator. I've always, you know, saw things that y'all did and purposely didn't want to try to mimic it.
Right.
Because that's their thing. I would never get up there and have clowns come out and throw Faygo or nothing, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm the killer clown, I do mine in a different way, you know what I mean? So I talked about that gang element, and we got that shit straight early, man. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't keep going.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like trying to split up your guys' fans is an insane because they're a lot of the same people.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be wild too because we're talking about 25 years of Strange music. At this point in time, like there's people probably with Tech N9ne tattoos that are like fucking teachers, dentists, like there's like technicians that are like probably in high places that you wouldn't even know unless they took their shirt off or something. You know what I mean?
Man, they approached me And people that I don't think is gonna come up to me and say anything about Tech N9ne, like I've been tuned in for 20 years. I'm like, holy shit.
Right.
Tech N9ne always felt like Fight Club. You know what I mean? Like you go into the restaurant and all the people, all the cooks, all the servers, they nod at you. You know what I'm saying? But all the rich people, you know, they don't know what the fuck's going on. You know what I'm saying? Until at the end when I'm taking pictures with everybody, like, who are you again? You know what I'm saying? It's Fight Club thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, talk about obviously, you know, for people who don't know, Save Me was a record that came out under Strange Music's distro. Shout out to our brother Jelly Roll, who is one of the biggest stars on the planet these days. You know, he's had a crazy journey through music.
Totally.
You know, I think back to like him opening up for ICP on tour.
Yeah.
I mean, he really was an actual underground rapper.
Yes,
like
sir.
Really, you know, you want to talk about subculture, like he came from that kind of like that subculture of like Ritz and Wolf and Haystack, and
he was really in the streets in Nashville
for sure.
Yeah.
But what I mean, obviously you guys also have a platinum record together at this point.
Yeah, we do. Creature.
Creature is platinum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How cool has it been, just as somebody who knows Jelly and has obviously broken bread with him, but just
it couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah.
It couldn't happen to a better person, and he's so thankful. It couldn't happen to a better person. He's always been a stand-up cat. You know what I mean? Him and Travis going back and forth because he didn't want to release Save Me to his fans because he thought that they would be making fun of him because he's singing. I'm like, dude, your singing voice
is different.
Like we did Easier for You, EFU, man. And I'm like, when he sang on it, Easier for You, I'm like, dude, your singing voice is crazy though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then Save Me took over.
It's just one of the most beautiful songs ever.
Yeah, and Eminem just reused it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the fact Eminem sampled a song that was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So crazy.
That's crazy, man. But it couldn't happen to a better human being, man.
Yeah. It's dope to just see. Like, I'm like, that's why I try to tell people. I'm like, if you knew Jelly, because I would always tell Jelly the same shit. I'd be like, brother, like as soon as people just like get to anybody who knows Jelly, when back then, it would just take people to meet him and they'd be like, yo, I love this guy. Yeah. I might not know him, but I just love this fucking guy. Yeah. And it was almost like the world went through that experience.
He's himself. He don't have to put on a mask or anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean like a mask I put on. I'm talking about like a fake persona. You know what I'm saying? Because my mask was really going on inside. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have to put on a fake persona to be Jelly Roll. He's Jelly Roll everywhere. You know what I mean? And people love that authenticity. And it's gonna be him and until he's ready to say fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier certain fans will like point to some of your older albums. If you, in your estimation, let's take the new album coming out of the equation. What would you say is your best album? I'm sure it changes for you all the time.
They're all my babies, man. I tell them this all the time. They're all my babies from Ange